Welcome to the shop. Well, if you had followed some of my videos, you knew that we were doing a 56 Mercury pickup and had to take a bit of a break. You know, life gets in the way, you gotta make some money, and finally got some time that I can start tackling the odd thing now. So next on the list, fenders. Now they're pretty rough. We need some work done to them. Let's give you a little bit of a tour here. As you can see, there's still a little rust here and there I gotta fix. There's a couple pretty good little dents in there, but all kind of minor. We can handle it. The inside, not going to worry too much about it. There's a little bit of rust down here. We got to fix that up, but we can handle that. That's pretty simple. Take you through that. And same with this one. It's got some dents and a little bit of rust here and there. But we still want to leave some of that rust, some of the patina. You know, that's the whole idea of this job. It's just, where do we stop and how far do we go? So, watch along. Just using some thin cardboard here, and it's just a matter of tracing out what you want for a patch. So I'm going to get the pen working. I have to build a patch to cover this up. Now I haven't cut this out because I want to know how to shape my my patch. But I just cut a little V in here. That way when I shape it around, it's going to close up. So we'll cut a chunk of metal and see if we can pound it into place. We got it not fitting too bad. So what we'll do is we'll just trace that out, cut it, and then any adjusting that we need to do, when we start tacking it in, we just hit it with the hammer and a dolly. It looks pretty good. I put an extra relief cut in here too, and it seems to be working just perfect. So I got a bit of a rough grind on that. That looks really, really good. I'm really happy with that. So, you know, it takes you half an hour or 20 minutes to build a patch. Another 20 minutes to weld it in there. So it's not that tough to do, you just gotta take your time. I know you can do it. Now you can see the rest of this fender here. I got some pretty good dents in there. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of time now hammering these things out so that I can get this straight, get on to the bodywork. This little dent here, it bulges here, so we're going to actually have to put a bit of a relief cut here. Get that all straightened out and then we can just weld that back up. And see here, when I clean this all up, I've got a couple pits in here. So I'm going to replace that. Just make up a little pattern here. Same procedure as everything else. This is really typical. You know, all the stuff kind of gets packed in here from driving on gravel roads, and very typical on the 56 to have a little bit of rust in here, but that's pretty minor. So we'll cut that out. Got a couple other little rust spots back there, but we'll take care of them. Alright, got the welding all done. Patches look great, really happy with them. And so now it's time to start grinding. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you know that I always talk about what grinding discs that I use. And to do a rough grind, I always use a 1/4 inch grinding disc that's made for aluminum. So they're a lot softer, they're going to produce a lot less heat, and they really grind down things quite quickly. To prep for ready for filler, I just use a 24 grit disc, and I use an old zip disc here as a backer. I don't buy the rubber ones or the vinyl ones because I want to cut my used edge off. I use a pair of used tin snips for that. You'll probably see me do that when I'm doing the body work. So we'll get grinding, and then once we've got that done, I'm happy, and we can start prepping for body work on this fender, and then start welding on the other one. Let's get at her. Gotta get suited up. This fender here, it beat up pretty bad. You can see here, you kind of see I got a bit of an oil can. It's not bad, but this is one thing you can do with this gun. And I'm just leaving just the regular tip in there, not putting my shrink tip, just in case you don't have one. Let's give her a quick little shot. I just got a little piece of snow here. Doesn't take much. Yeah, that's tightened down right up. Shrunk that metal, pulled it down. So if you got yourself a little bit of a high spot, you can shrink it with that with the stud gun. Much better. Just getting ready to work on the next fender here. As you can see, we got a pretty good crush right there. I think we're gonna have to put a relief cut in there to get that one out for sure. And you got the typical rust down here and up on the back side over there. But there's a pretty good crush right there. We're gonna have to do a little bit of magic on that, but I'm not gonna show you everything because I showed you a lot on the other one, but show you a couple things. But we gotta get at her so we can get going on the body work, the fun part. I'm just fixing up this part on the fender here, but I want to show you one thing. I've got the patch all done, or all made. This goes in there like that, but I have had to brace this so that the fender doesn't move, okay? So I bolted it in there and I welded it there because it'll flop around, and I kind of noticed it moving, so before I cut this piece out, I braced it all up so it would go back together the same way that it came apart. So now that I got that done, now I can weld that all in. Got my holes there for plug welding. Just got to do a little bit more cleanup and then get after that rust. Makes more patches. This is a big job working on these little corners. Just want to show you, I got this all done. Looks pretty good. Now I have to do some rust repair right here. So one thing I did not do was cut it out before I welded this piece in, so that I know where to weld this and I know where to shape it. Now I can cut this out, patch it, pretty simple from here on. Well, I got her all welded up. She looks pretty good. For a fender that was pretty well crushed, I think we're ready for some body work now. I got her all prepped up, ready for filler. So that's going to be the next step. I'm going to do a little sandblasting down in there first. That way I can or I'll do that part and then sandblast that and then finish that later. It's a little too rusty.